Welcome to the Original Remake podcast, where we take the role of Hollywood executives shamelessly exploiting your nostalgia for money.
Wow.
Yep. Your name is?
My name is Andrea.
And you're here with?
And I'm joined with Nick.
Oh, hi.
Pat.
Hello.
And Amy.
Hello.
And today we are watching Terminator Salvation.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you, Nick. I was waiting for that.
Okay, so Terminator Salvation, this is technically Terminator 4, and it is the first one that takes place after Judgment Day. And for those who haven't seen lots of Terminator films, I don't blame you, because outside of the first one and the second one, which is probably one of the best action films ever made, most of the Terminator films fall into a subcategory called not very good.
Is that the technical term, sir?
That's a technical term. A few of them even fall into the unfortunate category of being actively bad, like Genesis or whatever that one was. Terminator Salvation, I'll go over synopsis, but the reason I picked it is because it's a great opportunity for a franchise relaunch for people who kind of vaguely know what Terminator is, but who haven't gone to see all of the films or anything like that, because you kind of start fresh after the war. You can kind of just do a synopsis. And this was one I was very pumped for back in the day. And obviously, because I'm asking to remake it, it didn't live up to expectations, but I think there's a really, really solid start to a franchise film in here somewhere. So that's why I picked it. So Terminator Salvation, John Connor is one of the leaders of the Resistance after a artificial intelligence nuked everyone and took over the Earth, and he is fighting a war against our robot overlords as a sort of chosen one.
I feel like if at this point in time in pop culture, if you do not know any Skynet memes, you've been living under a rock.
That's true.
Like,
this is the perfect time for this film too.
Yeah.
AI overlords.
When did the first Terminator come out?
In the late 80s.
1980.
Find that out.
1984.
And it was based in 1984. Like the movie was.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, when they made the first movie, they didn't know it was going to be a franchise. They just made a time travel movie.
Well, I'm just saying in the future, in 2018, that's when the
No,
yeah.
they took over the world.
It was made in 1984, and it was present day.
By our boy Jimmy Cameron.
Yep. And just as a side note, Jimmy Cameron, the director, who all of a sudden is popular now because everyone wants his input on the Titan.
I don't understand why science fiction movies do this. You know, I know it was 2009, but they picked the future as a date less than 10 years away. So we're watching this and the past is 5 years ago, you know, or the future is our 5-year past.
I mean,
I wish they just didn't tell us the year. Like, this is the future at some point in the future.
It made me distracted.
Yeah. Also, the big thing for this movie, I think, is James Cameron, obviously an incredible director. Just go down the list. Unfortunately, this is directed by a man who calls himself McG, and who has written he's directed things such as Charlie's Angels and The Babysitter.
Oh boy.
And Fastlane, just some terrible, terrible stuff. I know him from the Charlie's Angels terrible films, but I don't know why they asked him to direct this film. That was your first mistake.
Probably.
Let's kind of get into it. First, we've all seen all of the other, or the mainline Terminator films. Everyone here has seen 1 and 2 at least, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't need to go into any of that. So let's just talk about our thoughts on Salvation then.
I enjoyed it.
I'm surprised.
It wasn't truly awful, but I also went into it not a lot of expectations. I gotta admit, this is my first time seeing it, or at least first time remembering it.
Me too.
I don't remember seeing this movie.
I truly fucking hated Christian Bale in this movie. This was like his Batman audition, because he spent the entire time going with the Batman voice. I'm Batman. He had no emotion. He had nothing. And it was just like, wow, he really sucks in this a lot. And it's distracting.
I thought he was good.
No, I thought he was terrible. The end.
I don't think he was terrible.
He was
but
terrible.
I don't think it was anything to write home about.
No, I did not like
Yeah,
him.
it's certainly not his best performance, but again, clearly this is like some Hollywood made by committee film, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, who do we get to direct it? A guy named McGee who would do anything if we pay him, right?
Yeah.
If you gave this script to James Cameron, he'd be like, I absolutely not. I flat out refuse to direct this.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. The Dark Knight came before Terminator Salvation, so maybe he just hadn't gotten out of that voice yet.
By a year, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind Christian Bale. I don't mind a lot of the actors in this film. I think the film, my problem with the film, and we'll, we won't jump into changes yet, but my problem with the film is that it just feels like a huge missed opportunity in regards to kind of establishing a set of characters who can move forward as a franchise. I'm not just talking about John Connor. I'm talking about all of the supporting characters that are around him. Common's in this movie for like 5 seconds. He's like the sixth cast guy, but he's like, all he does is stand around and kind of look dumb when John Connor says something. And
which is sad, because Common is pretty good.
Yeah, and you saw that in John Wick, I think 2 is John Wick 2 is that the one Common's in? I think so.
I don't remember, but he's in Silo, and he's really good in Silo.
We still have to watch that.
It is so fucking good.
Yeah, he's great, and I don't know if you guys noticed in the very, very first action scene, there's Terry Crews just laying dead as like one of his early ones.
I actually pointed that out, and I was like, oh my God, that's Terry Crews. And Nick was like, wait a second, he's just a random dead body. And I'm like, I don't know, but that was definitely Terry Crews.
Yeah, 100%. He's like, his acting career hadn't quite gotten off the ground yet. He's like, sure, I'll be a dead body for you, McGee.
Apparently that was Common's brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
They didn't really say that.
Yeah, I assumed it was, but again, this is kind of the problem, which is that first scene should be a great introduction to the state of the world, but it should also be a great introduction to all of the cool supporting cast. Like John Connor should have a core unit of people he trusts and respects, and instead we get him going in with a random group of people, and then everyone but him gets nuked for some reason, and he magically makes it out. If instead he went in with all these supporting characters, like what's her face? Moon Bloodgood, which is just an awful name. Oh, that's her actual name.
No, that's her actual.
That's her actual name.
I thought that was a character name. Well, her name's great, unless it's a character name, then it would be terrible. Blair Williams could go down. Whoever Common plays, Barnes, if they were down there in the very first scene and you kind of got to know them and develop them, even if characters, damn it, say the
characters.
Word. No.
Caricatures?
That's it. That's the one.
Even though I said caricatures.
Yeah.
You say it again.
Caricatures.
Caricatures.
Nope. You guys are putting extra T's in there.
I think the audience understands my lack
inability to pronounce the word caricature
and many other words. So I'm going to leave this in and not edit it out with the knowledge that people who listen regularly will be chuckling. But yeah, like they don't have to be fully fledged characters with their own storylines. They can just be
a nugget.
Exactly. They can just be someone that you grow to like because of certain quirks. And that's what a good writer will do. An example of this, and I hate to keep bringing this up every single episode, but it's worth it. Ted Lasso has characters that have no real arc.
I feel like this podcast might become an advertisement.
He's not getting
for Ted
paid
Lasso.
every time he says Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
That's the problem with this.
One of the best shows ever made. But there are literally characters on there who are just one-note characters, but you grow to love them because their character is just kind of a quirk, like a running joke. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think they could have done that better in this film.
Probably. I mean, I feel like that what I find annoying is that you say this movie sucked, and I haven't seen Genesis, but I've heard that was terrible. And
It's the worst one. It's the worst one by far.
And you said that oh God, Judgment Day was terrible. I saw it, but many years ago.
Oh no, no, Judgment Day is the best one.
Judgment Day. Oh, okay.
Genesis is the worst one. Judgment Day is the best one.
Is Judgment Day the one that ends in a silo?
Wait.
No, that's the Rise of the Machines.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh
the
wait,
third one.
not the third one. That's what I meant. The third
Yeah.
one, not Judgment Day.
There's
Third
actually,
one.
not to confuse everyone listening, but there's actually 2 Terminator 3s because Dark Fate, the newest one, is also Terminator 3.
It was meant to kind of come right after Judgment Day.
Yes. They
But-
it's supposed to replace Rise of the Machines.
But what I
Okay.
want to say is that it had apparently 3 really crappy movies in this whole franchise. 4, I guess, if you count Dark Fate. But again, I haven't seen that one either. And it's like you've got like an AI just taking over the world, you know, nuclear holocaust, machines, time travel, a savant savior figure, a really strong female main character. Like you've got all the really good elements of you have got all the elements of something that could be really good, and you just crap it away each time.
Yeah, the underlying content could be fantastic. The story that they're trying to tell,
Yeah.
could be amazing.
The fact that this reminds me of the first, or I guess the second movie over again, that's where I'm losing interest. If they're gonna do a whole spin-off after Judgment Day, why don't you change the actual storyline? I feel like everything was expected.
I don't mind
I
that.
never guessed endings, and I guessed the ending.
Right. So I don't mind. The problem with the Terminator franchise is John Connor has to live. A little more on that later, but John Connor has to live, find Kyle Reese, send him back to be his own dad. And there's a lot of really cool time travel, timey-wimey paradox stuff you can do with the fact that like John Connor has to find his younger version of his dad, send him back so he can father him, so he can save him and send, you know what I mean? That whole time loop thing is really interesting.
Dude, I saw the first Terminator when I was like 12 or 13, and that was the part that broke my brain the most. And I asked my mom all of these like time paradox questions, and she was like, I don't know, go to bed. And I'm like, but mom, how can he go back? What if he got killed? Would he just disappear? And she just got frustrated with me.
That's fair. So also while we're on the subject of Kyle Reese, R.I.P. Anton Yelchin. I can't pronounce
I know, I love that
Great
guy.
actor. Great
he was
actor.
so good in this movie.
Run over by his own truck. What a way to go.
Car.
Yeah, Jeep. I mean, that sucks. Like he was in Star Trek. He was in, I don't know if anyone's ever read the books Odd Thomas. I read those books. They're not fantastic, but they were great, and he played an adaptation of that. And he had like a long career ahead of him. He was not that old and didn't, just sadly passed away. So
He was so good.
he was. Let's kind of jump over then to what, for a lot of people when this movie came out, was the most controversial part. And that is Marcus, the basically doesn't know he's a robot. Before we jump in, I want to be upfront about how mad I am about something. The twist here was spoiled in some of the trailers.
Ooh,
The trailer have that shot where he's screaming and his chest is open. They have that shot in some of the trailers back in the day, and I remember being so annoyed that I knew that going in.
That's dumb.
But you
Yes.
didn't know that anyways?
I don't care. There's difference between me being able to guess what the movie's going to be, and then would be like, hey, this person where half the movie you think he's like some sort of human? No.
I was full on expecting, not knowing that about the trailer, I was full on expecting him to be this like prototype humanoid or like biological Terminator.
Yeah.
Meant to do exactly what he did and impersonate and infiltrate, but in a way that was completely undetectable. No, metal skeleton or anything like that. Just actually built.
And you could have a whole subplot of like they're trying to send Terminators to infiltrate the resistance, and it never works because they can't get the human aspect right.
Right.
And so Marcus can be the guy that works, but in order to make that work, he has to feel human feelings, and that's why he kind of ends up being his own air quotes person. Like there's an interesting character arc there that they completely ignored by making him just kind of a dumb robot who fell into their so blatantly obvious trap.
Right.
I think their attempt was there.
Yeah.
It's just they did it the wrong
Yeah.
way.
Sure, but I could attempt
Works.
to like beat Usain Bolt in the 100-meter dash, but I'm not going to.
I don't know. I have faith in you, Pat.
Thank you.
I also
I'll just drop a couple 100 pounds. Don't worry about it.
started with it.
Just trip him.
With the scene and him in jail. I didn't like that start.
Oh, I didn't like that start either. What?
And
Yeah,
I
I
that,
didn't
was-
either.
That was so.
well,
awkward.
they bring up his brother and like they keep referencing. I'm like, I
You
don't
don't
know
need
what
it.
you did, so it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
It
Uh,
just
That makes me feel some
I
kind of
don't
way
know.
about a guy in jail, and you're
Yeah.
nothing to go on.
Yeah.
right? They're trying to make a guy on death row seem sympathetic. You know what I mean?
I think they were trying to make him seem like an ass.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of did the way he like harassed.
It was kind of like, oh, so your brother like looks just like you and was killed before he could go on a mission to another planet and take control of a blue kitty.
Oh,
Hey now, one of those films is directed by the master James Cameron. You leave Jimmy Cameron alone. You
Okay,
let him.
fine.
You leave him and his sub alone. Okay.
It's just like I was like that's what kind of, I don't know, rolled around in my head at that point in time, and I'm just like,
I couldn't get past the creepy interaction between him and Helena Bonham Carter's character.
that was
Yeah.
so bad.
That
Yeah.
was-
It was
Well, so
bad.
oh,
I have a
cringe.
note here that says there's so much dumb Hollywood stuff in this movie.
Like take it out.
Oh my
like-
god, yeah.
Seriously, like the idea that like I'll trade you for a kiss. No, don't do that. Don't trade it for kisses. Trade it for something better. I've got a whole list here. I don't know if you just want me to run down the stupid Hollywood stuff.
Yes.
Rip
Yeah,
him off,
do
rapid
it.
fire.
John Connor on the radio literally telling the machines that he knows that they're going to trap him. Robots that are just human versions of things. Like, why would an artificial intelligence build motorcycles?
I kind of like that.
They all fly. You don't need wheels. A motorcycle can't get anywhere a drone can't already get. Dumb. Kyle Reese just accepting a dude showing up that has no idea what's happening. Like, imagine if the apocalypse happened and I walked up and be like, what happened to all these buildings? You're not suspicious that you don't know what happened? Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like Kyle Reese is like a super paranoid person anyway.
yeah.
Like in the first Terminator, he's like absolutely nuts paranoid like, oh my god, the world is ending. And this version of Kyle Reese, he's like, yeah, it's what do you?
He's just a cool dude in this movie.
yeah.
Not too worried about the end of the world at all, and not too worried about anyone not knowing what happened.
Or
One
at
of
least take a moment and like
Yeah.
recognize that and call it out, being like, wait. What do
Yeah.
you mean you don't know? Oh, is
Right.
it like amnesia or something? Oh, we'll help you remember. Or maybe
Yeah.
he doesn't need to remember because those were some dark times. Like, you had an entire subplot there you could have played with.
Right, exactly. This is one that I probably shouldn't have written down, but it always annoys me. They're in the middle of a desert and this giant robot somehow has snuck up on them. You're telling me no one heard this thing coming. Like, all of a sudden it just reaches down in the roof and it's like you're in a wooden shack.
Uh-huh. With no walls on surface.
Yeah.
Like, all the glass is blown out and
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
no way.
it's ridiculous. Main character giving pilots real-time advice on how to fly. No thanks, Christian Bale. This one's my favorite. I'm just going to read this note verbatim as I wrote it. Oh no, sexy pilot lady gonna be assaulted unless Robot Man shows back up to save the day. Sure hope she won't fall instantly in love with him and ends up betraying all of her friends of many years. That happens in this film.
My comment was forced intimacy / attempted romance is stupid.
Yes.
yeah, that was just so contrived.
Like
and
the
awkward.
scene where she's like, I don't know, bathing in the rain or whatever the hell that
Yeah.
was.
And then she
What the
looks
fuck
yeah,
was that?
yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, and then she like sort
Out
of
nowhere.
looks seductively at Marcus,
Yeah.
and I'm like, in any other world, it'd be like, stop leering at me, you
Yeah.
creep.
Yeah.
that
It's
was
almost like this movie was made for a bunch of guys.
First of all,
Yeah.
weird.
if you're gonna show someone with their top off, go all the way. That's what I pay my money for to get in the theater. No, I'm just kidding.
Hell, that's what they did in the first
I'm
one.
sure, I'm sure it was PG-13.
Yeah, they needed that PG-13. I like that character, but again, she doesn't really do anything once she gets Marcus out of the base. So she's only there as a plot device, and then really doesn't function in any other way. And then kind of the worst one, and this is something that a lot of comic book movies are correctly accused of, which is crappy CGI fight to end the film in place of any actual conflict or stakes in the film. Just, you know what I mean? Like, that fight at the end was just not very well done.
The one where they're going through that Terminator
Factory
production
thing.
plant.
Yeah. And
kind of like in Terminator 2.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor at the time of California. The governor of California. So they couldn't get him back.
Oh my gosh.
I am very thankful for strategically placed shadows.
Yes, yeah. There's every time you would just see Arnold's balls, there's like a steam vent just pushing out steam.
Or a black hole.
Yeah.
Like, thank God.
So, but there was no stakes or tension in that I felt in the final finale of the film. I was just kind of waiting for the CGI fest to end, and I feel like that's a shame because really great action films make the action interesting. And since I've mentioned Ted Lasso, I'll mention the other thing I always mention, which is Avatar: The Way of Water. In Avatar: The Way of Water, Jimmy Cameron, he my friend Jimmy Cameron, you know, he takes half an hour out of this 3.5-hour film to explain how the ship that's going to be in the movie for the rest of the movie works and what they're doing to the whales when they catch them and why they're doing it. And so when the final fight happens, you have so much context about what's happening. And that is a great way to prepare the audience for action. In this one, there's no context. It's just we're going into a production line. Okay, here's a CGI Arnold. Okay, we're throwing things at each other in like, green screen rooms and filling in the rest later. The actors almost certainly don't know the environment they're in. They're just mostly in front of green screen for the most part, right? So that doesn't really lead to a great end of the film. And even good films that I like the end of Avengers Endgame is just really kind of a boring.
Yeah, it's all CGI.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with CGI, but for me it was like just kind of very generic, and a lot of films have this problem. I think that's why I like films like Captain Marvel, where like part of the end of the film is like, actually, I'm so powerful than you, I'm just not going to fight, and just punching the bad guy. Or Doctor Strange, where he just traps the bad guy in a time loop with him. Those are like really genius ways to have climaxes to the film, instead of having a beat 'em up CGI fest that we've seen 100 times. So that's my list of stupid Hollywood shit. Does anyone have anything to add?
Let me see.
You caught most of the points. I'm gonna go back to I just think there were so many missed opportunities. I feel like every time there was a fork in the road, they chose the wrong side of the fork.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Like every missed opportunity just puts it further and further away from the film it could be.
Yeah.
I knew at the end that Marcus was going to save John Connor, but the way they did it, I was
so
contrived. It made me so upset.
Yeah.
Like I would have rather it ended with the CGI fight.
I mean,
just Marcus die instead of him saving John Connor.
Yeah, if he died and then from there they were like, oh, his brain is dead, we can use his heart to save.
No, I feel like what happened here was they got to the end of the movie while it was still in script form, and we're like, shit, we don't have a good way to finish this out. We already talked about this robot dude having a brain of a human. Why don't we give him a heart too, and then we could just rip that out at the end, and it'll be a nice tie-in. And like some Hollywood exec probably like brogasmed over that, thinking he was so awesome and so smart for doing that.
It'll be super easy to do, barely an inconvenience.
Why did they even have to kill off
trademark
Marcus?
TM?
I think what they wanted, they wanted John Connor to kind of end up being like almost like a cyborgy human at the end. If the franchise went on, he might have like gotten his arm chopped off and gotten a robot arm. They wanted to do some like Star Wars, like, I'm a Jedi like my father before me type stuff or whatever.
You become the monster you hate kind of thing.
Yeah, which is a cool concept, but
I think you're giving them too much credit here.
Probably.
Because the part that they ripped out of the robot was a human part.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, if you got to the end and we're like, hey, listen, there's this robot heart that's designed to look and act and function like a human heart. We could rip that thing out and put it in him. We just can't tell him because now he's going to be part robot and he hates robots. And there's your next movie, him coming to terms with the fact that he's a cyborg now.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, you had an opportunity and you looked straight ahead at the nice, clear, smooth road. And then you took a look to the right and it took a look to the left and you saw that craggy, pothole-ridden street. And you said, you know what? That's the one. That's the one that makes a good movie.
And then they decided to drive down 104.
Yeah. So listen, as much as I'm dumping on this movie, and again, similar to a lot of my films like Jupiter Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending. I like that movie.
Yeah, I don't hate this film, but I want in there's a fantastic film, and it annoys me that it's not great.
I agree.
And so that's why I kind of remade it. Do we want to move on to
Amy? You're shaking your head.
Yeah,
like,
Amy,
why?
let's go. Yeah.
I just
The listeners can't hear you shake your head.
can't hear me shake the head. At least Jupiter Ascending was, even if it wasn't a good original, it was original. I really felt like this movie, they were just, out of all the Terminators, they're just falling on the main story.
I mean, you have to, though. It's literally the point of the movie.
You don't have to.
I promise you do. The one that tried to reset it was Genesis, and it was the worst by far. I would put this as the third best, tied for the third best. This one, and I think the newest one, Dark Fate, are competing for the third best Terminator movie. But Rise of the Machines is fine.
I don't know. Maybe if they turned the ending where it wasn't focused on, yes, it's in the Terminator saga, but not focused on John Connor, more actually on Marcus. Why can't that be a storyline in the Judgment Day era?
Yeah, I mean, they could do that. They did the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is John Connor's mom. They did a whole TV show about it. Now, I never watched the whole thing, but like the season of it I did watch was pretty good, actually.
What was it? Like, what are some examples of some stories they talked about there? Like, what happened after the original Terminator, or what?
It was set up like it was its own thing at first. You've got a Terminator that basically has amnesia.
Yeah. I didn't watch the whole thing, but Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, Cersei from Game of Thrones, is the main person. It was good when I watched it, but I haven't seen it in forever. I do want to go back and maybe watch whatever the next couple seasons were. It looks like they got 2 seasons, so I just missed one of the seasons.
Yeah,
I mean, it was on Fox, so it probably got canceled pretty quick.
Correct.
Correct. This one's starting to do too good. Get
rid of it.
Yeah. And so the show came out in 2008, so like you had a really good opportunity, 2008, 2009, to really relaunch the franchise, and it fell flat, so
yeah.
All right, let's move on then to changes, but I can't speak today. Changes that we'd like to make. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've got one list of changes, and it's basically the plot of a movie. Like, I've just basically written a plot of what I want this movie to be. Yeah, I've done this before in episodes, and I apologize, but I don't have individual changes. I'm like, here's from start to finish a list of things my movie will contain.
I feel like when this movie came out, this episode was already written.
Yes, I've written.
10 years
when I
ago.
picked this, I already knew all of the stuff I've written down here that I would like to see.
All right, go.
Go.
All right. So first of all, we don't give anything away in the trailer, and we don't give anything away in the first scene that Marcus is a Terminator. So that first scene that happens in the past doesn't happen. We don't see Marcus as a Terminator until he's revealed to us in the base. We just jump right into the first action scene, and which in my film would do a better job setting up the conflict and the world and all of the characters, so we get to know them right away. And then we hear like John Connor give kind of like a radio speech like he does in the film, but we never actually see him give the speech like at the radio. No, but in my film we don't.
Oh, okay.
He wants the Batman voice.
It's a plot twist, yeah. So the mission is to find Kyle Reese and send him back to the past. There's going to be none of this like there's a secret code and we're going to destroy the Terminators.
Oh, I
And
liked that part though.
but it's so dumb. Like, how dumb do you have to be like, wow, have the robots not noticed they have a secret code under their code? That it, come on.
The way they spun it was not so much secret code, but like, so the way I took it was the Terminators, Skynet, they were all human manufactured at some point, and they probably had a kill code in them somewhere, and it's probably mutated over time into this new form of kill code that just happened to be stumbled upon by these guys, and they go through the whole scientific method thing of taking down that chopper thing and all that. I love the idea of that. I also love the twist at the end that it was a manufactured thing to lull them into a false sense of security, because that is absolutely a Skynet move.
I mean, they did say that that code would have absolutely killed them, but they planned it on purpose or something.
Right. Yeah, it was like a false flag, and then obviously, by the way, Michael Ironside's in this film as the dumb commander who no one listens to. He's a great actor too, and again, he was given nothing to work with. But in this film, you can do that in a future film. In this film, John Connor's only goal is to locate Kyle Reese.
Okay.
So they find out Marcus is a Terminator, and Marcus is all surprised. After some scenes where they get to know each other, Marcus agrees to help, and just like in the film, they locate Kyle Reese, and they end up assaulting the Skynet hub just like they would in the actual film. And they fight their way in against like a robot army, because I don't know why Skynet isn't guarded in this film, but like everyone and their mother just walks into this secure headquarters, and so they're successful in sending Reese back, and Marcus even saves Reese's life during the battle and kind of shows that no, this isn't a trap. I'm actually on your side. I'm my own person, right? And so the machines have made a mistake in order for him to infiltrate, they have to give him something close enough to free will. And then he's kind of using that to be like, I'm my own man, just like a regular human would. So you can kind of do some thematic stuff of what is a human, right? Like theoretically, we're all just programmed here anyways. It's just, biological programming in our brains.
For all of you listening, he's pointing at his head.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. But it's just electrical signals, right? And you can, theoretically you could put volts into someone's head, or that's what we do in medication. We block signals in the brain. That's literally how, depression medicine works. You know what I mean? So, you can do a lot of theme there. Here's the main twist for me, and I know a lot of Terminator fans will probably hate this. The major twist is John Connor is killed in this battle to send Kyle Reese back. So you kind of get this closing of the loop, right? He sends Kyle Reese back, then he dies. So Kyle Reese's mission is to father the child that will send him back right before he dies. So you kind of get, again, the weird paradox thing.
I mean, that's kind of
that.
I like that too, but John Connor is supposed to save everyone and everything.
Okay, yes, but here's the twist, though. Here's the twist. John Connor is supposed to save everyone because they set it up that way. But the person who set it up that way is John Connor's wife, Kate Connor.
Oh.
She's the actual mastermind, and she's just been replacing John Connor's the whole time, because obviously if you're a robot army, you're going to kill John Connor immediately. Even in the film, 20 times you just snipe John Connor in the face and the movie's over. There's multiple opportunities for John Connor to be killed on the regular. So the twist is that Kate Connor is using the idea of a savior called John Connor to trick the robots into spending resources, and instead of focusing on kind of the resistance itself. So I like the idea that kind of it's almost like a false flag. And then Kate Connor picks a new John Connor from one of the minor characters we got to know during the film, he'd be in the army. And then Kate Connor is when the next radio voice comes out, it's still John Connor's voice, but it's a synthesizer. So there's never been a John Connor voice. It's always been Kate Connor putting through a radio and having someone wear like the jacket and kind of look like him. And then Marcus, who survives the battle, is kind of like her bodyguard. And then you can go through the franchise with the fake John Connor, the robot that's by herself, and Kate Connor, who actually has something to do in this film. So that would be my twist on it. And then you don't have to worry about John Connor being like the hero and has to survive every movie. And it actually is interesting. I know that people will, if you're a Terminator fan, you're probably screaming right now because like killing John Connor is like a cardinal sin. And they actually do this. You guys haven't seen Dark Fate, right?
No.
Okay, so the opening of Dark Fate, the very first scene is Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up and blows away John Connor with a shotgun.
Ah,
The
okay.
very first scene of Dark Fate, that's what it is. And then it's actually a great movie. It's Sarah Connor, and there's a new John Connor. She's female. And I think this is one of those movies that a lot of people poo-pooed when it came out because like, oh, you know, now it's a female John Connor and there's a female hero and blah, 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 blah. That part of the movie they got right. What's her name? Mackenzie, the actress's name?
How does the movie end? Like your version of the film, how does it end?
Kate Connor
So
doing a radio transmission.
yeah, that's it. Just like the end of the actual film, like the end is a radio transmission for John Connor saying we're going to keep fighting the fight, but
but what's the last big set piece or
it's
action
them
scene?
it's them sending Kyle Reese back to the past.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because that's that's where and this is the problem in Genesis. They have this issue where like how do we get the technology to send people back? Like they like break into Genesis, they break into a Terminator facility and then send them back that way, the way they send back Terminators. Terminator Dark Fate, which again is the redone 3. Mackenzie Davis is incredible as like the protector of the new savior.
Okay.
So, and again, that kind of goes back to even if John Connor dies, someone will step up and be the leader, right? So even though Terminator fans might get a little antsy in their pantsy about like John Connor has to be the hero, it actually doesn't make any sense.
I think the word you're looking for is butthurt.
Yeah, a little triggering there, but Dark Fate is not a bad film. I think more people should see it. But I had no problem with them killing John Connor in that film, and I think it's actually a good idea to have John Connor be kind of a red herring for the Terminators. Did
they at least say why they killed him, or like what what? I guess we're gonna have to watch it.
They basically they just find him and kill him because they think he's going to be the future leader, right? So imagine Terminator 2, but at the end John Connor dies. That's basically what happens. Sarah Connor and John Connor are on vacation, and Terminator just walks up a beach and shoots him. For some reason they let Sarah Connor live. I don't understand that, but
and she has another baby that she then names John Connor.
No, they find another child it's a female, and for some reason Mackenzie Davis is sent back and now she's the leader, and she gets Sarah Connor to help her protect a new leader.
Oh, okay.
It's convoluted, but also every Terminator movie ever made except for the first one is convoluted, so
yeah.
What?
Okay.
But yeah, like okay, that's my movie
I like it.
Pitch.
Yeah.
I
Thanks.
like it. I love the idea, the subterfuge around it, because like you said, you'd kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like the fact that Kate Connor is going to be the new Sarah Connor from the original. I always thought she was the heroine to the hero.
Yeah.
Like she was badass.
She's, you know what though? She's never had enough to do in the Terminator franchise. In Rise of the Machines, who plays her? I can't remember what you said her name earlier.
Sarah or Kate?
Kate. Claire Danes. Yeah.
But that was like at the very beginning when they first met. I think that was
Yeah. So she didn't really have a ton to do.
More than this This
Yeah, and
Kate in this movie.
Kate Connor in this movie, I didn't even know she was a doctor. She's like operating someone at the end. I'm like, wait, was that established that she's a healthcare
All I
professional?
noticed is that she was pregnant.
It was not established.
Yeah, so I didn't care for her arc, and what's her
It could have
name?
been a lot
Bryce
more.
Dallas Howard is very talented actress, and she's just kind of wasted here.
Yeah.
Also a great director, by the way.
Oh my God,
Really?
yes.
What
She
did she
directed
directed?
a lot of oh my God, a recent TV show that's like really good. Hold on, let me find it.
Oh, she was in The Village. My favorite.
Yes.
She wasn't.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, she directed like 5 episodes of The Mandalorian.
That's
Oh.
right.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's done a lot of Star Wars directing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, and then 1 episode of The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
She
just
must
bunch
be
of
a
Star Wars
secret
stuff.
Star Wars fan.
I think so. Well, her dad is too. That's Ron. She's Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fair.
A Nepo baby that's actually good.
Yeah. yeah. But yeah, she's a great actress as well that I feel like ends up being in roles that
Where she's just
don't
face.
get where she doesn't get enough screen time
Yeah.
or enough character. Like even like that first Jurassic World, which was like probably the thing most people know her from. She,
And that
She's
is
too-
sad. Yeah.
She's too good for the shitty characters that she usually ends up playing.
yeah, that's
Gotta
it.
pay the
That's-
bills.
So apparently in Judgment Day or Return to whatever the movie with the third movie, I guess. I don't know.
Rise of the
Machines.
Machines.
Apparently Claire Danes in that film was a veterinarian, but now she's a physician.
Probably because they all died.
I guess that would
Yeah,
make sense.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you work on animals, sure. Why not be a doctor?
Yeah. Okay, so that's my version of the movie. Sorry if you hated everyone and you think I'm a Hollywood hack. Does anyone have things they would change in the film?
I think you should write a screenplay, go find some student actors and do it.
I should
the thing.
should give it to my friend Jimmy Cameron the next time we're on a sub together.
Yes, do the thing.
Yeah, your boy J Cam.
Yeah.
He's got you.
Sharpen those screenwriting skills.
Sorry, next time Jimmy and I are going down to see the Titanic, I'll
Wait, did you say get a bunch of actors and make a play or a musical? What are we talking about?
Just
a
no,
Terminator
like
musical.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I take back
better-
everything I said. I'm remaking it into a musical.
You better put a copyright on that idea
Like immediately.
because like
Yeah.
someone here's gonna hear this and they're gonna be like, oh my God,
Huh.
a Terminator
Someone
musical.
stupid enough is gonna make this one day.
No, I mean
They
like,
may.
you know, get a video, like get a good camera. Go,
Could you imagine all the great like musical bits about time travel?
Oh gosh, that's
oh
horrible.
my God, yeah.
Edit this out. I like your change.
You
Thank you.
realize that he's gonna keep it in now that you said edit
Probably.
it out, right?
I know.
Correct. Mostly because I'm lazy, but also other reasons like we want to make fun of you.
Oh, wow.
All right. If no one has anything to add to my Oscar-winning masterpiece of a film that relaunched the entire Terminator franchise, you're welcome, Jimmy Cameron. Let's go on to casting. We're going to do a change to casting, at least for this round. And if it works out well, we'll continue it. It's going to be a little bit of an experiment. So the way we're going to do it is normally everyone casts someone. This time, everyone but me, so the person who picked the movie, is going to cast some of our main characters. And I'm going to pick the person who I think did the best job picking a cast for my film. And I also have people that I would cast, so I can mention those as well. But I think this will bring a little bit more interaction on the cast. So if you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, be quiet. I don't care.
Yeah.
Get him.
Really, the
opinion's
only opinions
trash.
that matter are ours because we're the ones that are gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, the only opinions that matter are the ones that agree with me. So let's do, I think we're going to be doing 3 characters here. John Connor, Marcus, and Kyle Reese. I also have someone down for Kate Connor, but that is because I gave her a much bigger role in the film, and I don't believe anyone else has cast her, which is perfectly fine.
But I like how you changed it. she deserves a bigger role. So now I feel bad I didn't think of someone.
Well, I'll reveal who my pick would be for Kate Connor at the
you
end.
must have had some actress in mind when you were thinking that.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
It's like the main character. You turned into the main character.
Well, you know. All right, so let's do John Connor.
I had a really hard time with casting all of these because I sat
Me
down and
too.
watched the movie. I was like I didn't have my notes. I didn't have my laptop. I didn't have anything. I was like watching the movie purely for like a good time. And that's like, I was just,
That's how Amy watches movies.
Correct.
yeah, like I hadn't thought of anything. Like I hadn't thought very far ahead. And I was like, oh shit, who do I cast? So I guess I'll go first if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm already talking. So for John Connor, I picked Garrett Hedlund.
Who?
Garrett Hedlund.
I don't know. I'm sure I recognize
You probably would.
movies that Garrett Hedlund has been in.
So he was in Troy, Friday Night Lights, Aragon, Tron Legacy, which is where I first saw him and I was like, holy shit. He was in Mudbound, which I remember I saw.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, this is a lot. But with good reason. Fun fact, he was supposed to be cast as Finnick Odair in The Hunger Games, but he turned it down. He was in the movie Inside Llewellyn Davis. So
Yeah,
I
I recognize
like...
him from the Tron movie, which I quite liked him in.
I recognize him from Four Brothers, which is odd because that's a horrible movie, and I love that
that's
movie.
a pretty good movie.
Of
yeah.
course it is.
I like that movie.
I freaking loved Tron Legacy. It was amazing.
That was a great.
They're coming out with a new Tron, by the way.
Are they really?
Are they actually this time?
No, it's for real. Unfortunately for everyone, it's starring Jared Leto. So probably, yeah. Sorry, everyone. I didn't want to get your hopes too high before I dumped them down.
Tron Ares. I mean, that sounds cool, except Jared Leto. I fucking hate him.
Yeah, he's like this generation's Sean Penn. Stop overacting. You just give him an Oscar so he will go away.
Yeah. No, he wouldn't go away. He'd get worse.
That's true.
I mean, maybe that happened with Will Smith.
That's true.
Ooh, is that too soon?
No.
Maybe not.
No.
So yeah, I was having a really hard time with it. And I was like, I feel like he would do a good job. He'd be able to be like, I don't know, like a brooding soldier, but also be able to show some kind of emotion. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention about changes we'd make. So in the first two movies, they talked a lot about how German Shepherds were used to detect whether or not someone was human or not. Like Sarah Connor at the end of the first movie, she had a German Shepherd with her. And I wish that they had had more puppers.
That would have been that's a excellent change. I will add to your casting note that if you just type this man's name into Google, the very first photo that shows up, he looks like he would be John Connor with that mustache and the beard and the long hair, right?
Yeah, he kind of does.
Like that.
Like that's perfect. Apparently he's in the new Top Gun as well. He must have had a small role. I like that pick.
Yeah,
Nick.
buddy.
Yo.
Who'd you pick for John Connor?
Well, I'm with Tom Hardy.
Okay, I like Tom Hardy.
That pick's better.
Care to explain yourself?
No, she wins.
Yeah, that's right. I do win.
Honestly, I was trying to look for an actor that I have not picked.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the last 4 seasons of this podcast, I keep falling back to the same actors over and over and over again. So
All the Stranger Things kids.
That's not me. That's Lady. And occasionally me.
No, you both like to pick Timothy Chalamet a lot.
Oh yeah, he's our boy. Chalamet.
Yeah, he's fantastic and everything. Anyways,
he better be Kyle Reese.
Oh gosh, I purposely tried not to pick him in this.
I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, if you will, and pick new characters. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of envisioned Tom Hardy in the role.
Okay.
He's too pretty.
There's no such thing.
I
don't know. That Garrett guy's pretty fascinating to look at.
All right, Nick, with his lackluster enthusiasm for Tom Hardy. Amy.
well, listen, okay. Tom Hardy was in Batman. He was in Venom.
Mad Max.
Yeah. but
Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay,
Yes.
and Andrea, now you've gone too far.
Ah,
He was
That's-
excellent in all of those.
Star Trek Nemesis was the first Star Trek movie I saw in theaters.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
That is so bad. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 12-year-old me was like, what the hell is going on in this movie?
I should note that when I made my picks, I tried to look at actors that were between the ages of 40 and 30,
Yeah,
so that they
same.
fall in that age range of John Connor being 34.
Tom Hardy
That's
could
fair.
pull it off.
He is 45.
He could.
He could definitely pull it off.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I was
Probably.
thinking about that when you said about my pick. I think he might be a little bit too old.
Okay, go ahead. What is it?
My pick for John Connor, because I think he fits the heroine or the heroic character, and I like his voice. Clint Eastwood.
Oh, Clint Eastwood's son?
Yeah,
I like
I
that
think
pick.
he has a very
Yeah.
good voice, and I think in this movie, I don't know about the remake of Pat, but you did say you do want some voiceovers.
Yeah.
I think it
he's
would
been
look
good in a
good.
lot of stuff,
He's
and
been
he's
Wrath of Men.
yeah. We could kill him off too, right?
We can kill him off, and it's okay because it's just whatever.
Yeah.
What would I
He-
have seen?
Wow.
Wrath of Man, he was in recently.
Yeah,
Don't Laugh, he plays a kind of crappy white gangster in the Clint Eastwood film Gran
Mhm.
Torino.
yeah,
Okay.
and that probably has no nepotism whatsoever, right?
No, but he's what else was he in? He was Wrath of Man, Gran Torino.
Do you think he looks too old to be John Connor?
No, he's 37. Apparently he was in
He looks
Fast
a
and the
lot
Furious.
older, though.
Let's
I
see.
think
I'm looking at his some of his films: Pacific Rim Uprising,
Oh yeah, that's right. I like that movie.
Oh,
Fate of the
okay.
Furious, Suicide Squad,
yeah.
Which Suicide Squad?
the one
The
without
crap,
the
the bad one. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
When I say the bad one, I mean the Jared Leto one.
yes. Texas Chainsaw 3D.
okay.
I don't know if that's his
Invictus.
classic.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
Not much I would have seen him in.
Well,
No,
probably-
definitely a nepo baby who kind of worked his way in slowly. But in Wrath of Man, I thought he was great as a
I
villain.
think he could play the John Connor character pretty well
Yeah. Okay.
and end it very easily too.
Okay. I'm gonna give my award. So I'm not gonna lie. As soon as Nick said Tom Hardy, I was like, "Oh, Nick, great pick." But then because you didn't believe in yourself, I can't give it to you
Oh,
Oh, come on.
because I thought, oh my God, Tom Hardy is perfect for that role. So if you just believed in yourself, as soon as you said Tom Hardy, I was like, oh my God, Tom Hardy for Mad Max would be a perfect John Connor. They're basically the same person.
all right.
So I'm gonna go with Andrea on this one.
Yahoo!
I think again, mostly I know that Garrett Hedlund from Tron, but I think he was a good enough. I think he's underrated, especially in that film. He's one of those people that, he had his first major film bombed super hard. At the time, Tron Legacy was not well received, and it's only, more recently that people think, actually, this is not that bad. But he's great in it. He does a really good job
Yeah.
in that
That
film.
movie
So I
was
think he could do my John Connor for sure.
That movie was fantastic, and so was its soundtrack.
Yes,
my
the
God,
person
Soundtrack was-
the soundtrack is perfect. The
Yeah.
person I had down for my pick was Miles Teller.
Get the hell out.
Whoa.
When I wrote my notes, Miles Teller is the first person I wrote down. Son of a bitch.
Well,
Look, see?
You already won.
yeah, you already won
Already
anyway,
won.
so it doesn't
What are you
count.
going
Ah!
for credit?
Yeah.
you
Oh,
already
I
won.
probably should have explained this in the beginning of the rules, but you automatically win if you pick the same person I would have picked for obvious reasons.
Damn it. Ah.
Why are you picking yourself for already winning?
because I could have been perfect.
Yeah, your backup choice, was the best choice, but your first choice was still, and your second choice was anyways. Yeah, you get it. Let's move on to Marcus then, our android in chief. Let's go in the same order.
Okay.
Andrea first.
Now I kind of want to say like the pick that I had written down and crossed out to put. Can I do that, Pat?
Yes, I want to hear it just in case it's
As the
actual
person who
facts.
makes up the rules, yes, you can break the rules whenever you want.
Okay, cool. So along with Miles Teller, I scribbled it out. I wrote Josh Hutcherson and then scribbled it out and wrote Channing Tatum.
Huh.
I don't like either of them.
I was gonna say,
but explain yourself.
Channing Tatum.
So yeah, Channing Tatum has that sort of, I don't want to say
Robot?
like meat-headed
Body?
robot kind of look. But
he's a fuck boy with a BOI.
but he's been in some movies where he's had to play a serious role. And from what I understand, he's done really well with them. And I think he could, in this movie, he spends a lot of time just like the character spends a lot of time just being confused. And, kind of just going headlong with all the conviction in the world from one thing to another. And I feel like that he could do well with that.
I see that, yeah.
I don't know if so I want my Marcus to have like acting chops.
Ooh.
Because he has to carry this movie. Like
That's true.
You're not
for as
gonna
much as
pick then.
for as much as the movie is about John Connor, John Connor's not in it for like full on 30-minute sets of time in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like
well, when I was researching this, I saw that Channing Tatum was in Foxcatcher, which is kind of why I want to see the movie. I haven't seen it, but I heard amazing things about everyone in that movie. And they were like, yeah, Channing Tatum, Steve Carell, and the third guy. I don't know what his name was off the top of my head anymore. But they were all like, yeah, these three guys were amazing in this movie.
have you guys seen This Is the End?
Yes.
He
I
plays
hated it.
Danny McBride's Gimp.
Yep.
And apparently if you go watch it for interviews, they were the directors of the film were like, there's no way he'll do this right. And like apparently he emailed them back like 10 minutes later, like 3 o'clock in the morning, was like, yo, I'm in.
Yep.
He's you know what? He's better than I think a lot of people give him credit for. The Jump Street remake films are really good. I just don't know whether he has.
Is this too serious?
I think it's too serious. I think almost every movie I've seen him in that I like. The most serious movie I've seen him in is what's it called?
Jupiter Ascending.
Oh God! Oh, you know what? You know what? Jupiter Ascending is the perfect reason why he shouldn't be in a serious movie. If anything, that's his audition, and he fails.
G.I. Joe. Didn't see that.
That's terrible. No, Haywire is the movie I'm thinking of, which is a really underrated action film.
That sounds familiar.
Steven Soderbergh directed it. Same guy who did Ocean 11. It's got a bunch of people you know in it. It's a really cool action thriller. I loved it. Yeah, fantastic film. But
he does. I do feel like this role needs some. It requires a certain gravitas.
Yeah.
Yep. And my pick is perfect.
All right, go ahead. You honestly, the bar is low right now. Channing Tatum could be.
But look at the way he's saying it. His perfect pick.
I'm gonna say the name.
Okay.
And you'll just know. You'll understand. You'll know why.
All right, good.
He was also in Haywire. Michael Fassbender.
Oh yeah, that's a great pick. Great pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He has played robots.
He definitely has the chops for this. 100%.
Well, like think of him in X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
That is what I'm picturing with
yes, a tortured soul.
One side to the other. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think I need no other explanation. I think I've already won this round.
A fantastic book, but we'll give Amy a shot at beating you.
I'm so embarrassed. I failed even before I started.
Well, once again, I feel like even if you pick something better than Nick, I can't pick you now.
When Andrea picked her choice, I'm like, oh crap, I picked the weaker version of Channing Tatum because he was actually in a movie with Channing Tatum. Alex Pettyfer. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Oh,
he
okay.
he was in actually Magic Mike. He was the younger one, and he was also in years ago I Am 4. He sort of was like the action guy. And In Time.
He's also in the 2011 film In Time.
I'm just saying,
Really?
your
What was
great
he in?
pick.
What was he
I think.
in?
Oh, he's
He
the
was the
gangster.
Minuteman. He was the Minuteman.
He's the Minuteman. Yeah.
I think he looks like a robot,
Oh.
and
Amy, I don't know if I said before that any of the rules in this podcast can be broken, but there is one you can't break. If your most famous film is Magic Mike, you can't be a good actor.
but
Aw.
That's
I
an
don't know.
that's an unbreakable rule.
I think that's a great film.
Magic Mike.
Lots of talent through the whole entire movie. So mic dropped.
Is this have something to do with you watching Magic Mike while I was gone this weekend?
I did. I watched the new Magic Mike with Salma Hayek, and it was horrible.
I mean, I would watch anything with Salma Hayek in. All right, listen, ladies, I'm sorry, but it's not just that Nick picked something good. You actively were bad, so Nick is just the winner.
Don't undermine my victory.
No, honestly, it would have been hard. I think it's a fantastic pick. I agree. Here's my pick. It's Austin Butler, who was in Elvis and is going to be in Dune Part 2, and he has acting chops.
Who is he going to be in Dune?
Fayed, basically the anti-Paul. He's the
nice.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read the book, but he's Paul's nemesis in the second film. Okay, so Nick wins that round. Let's move on then to Kyle Reese. Andrea, did you pick anyone? I believe the answer is no.
Nothing. My brain just stopped working. I actually really liked Anton Yelchin for this, and I was like, I would totally keep him as like that one person per movie that you're allowed to keep as the casting, but like he's no longer with us, R.I.P. And I'm like, ugh.
I'm not gonna lie, if Nick and Amy's picks are bad, I'll just give it to you for picking no one. So Nick, go ahead.
Wow.
Oh no, and it's very a good possibility that mine's bad. It could be happening. Nick, you go first.
I was going to throw out a pre-qualifier here, but we're just going to YOLO. Taron Egerton.
You lease him a lot too.
I do.
Because he's great.
He is great.
And he's got a ton of range. Like
100%.
Either Elton John or, a super spy assassin. Like, dude can do anything.
I don't think he's right for this role.
I couldn't find a good replacement.
He's 33. I think that's pushing it age-wise.
Yeah,
No,
I think my pick's too old too.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like the person who plays Kyle Reese has to be more scrappy. And more.
How old is Kyle Reese supposed to be in this film?
He's supposed to be a teenager.
Late teens, early 20s, I believe. But you can fudge the numbers if you want because of the way time travel works. So,
and also,
as long as he can bear children, he's fine.
And also, it's the apocalypse, so you probably look a little bit older anyway, just the sheer stress.
Yeah, I do think he's too old, but I think as an actor, so far as his skill set goes, I think he's a great pick, but he is a little on the older end. So better than literally picking no one, but Amy, go ahead. Can you bail us out?
I heard best pick so far.
Correct. Technically correct.
So I did not think about him being younger as well. I picked two. And I actually
a lot of cheaters this round, picking two instead of one. What's going on here?
My first initial pick was Theo James.
Who?
Oh, yeah.
But I think he may be too older, but I thought he would play a really good sort of.
No, I think you're right.
Okay, well, he's 38, so right now Nick is winning almost by default.
Yeah, but like you said, you can nudge the ages. I mean,
okay, yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Especially if this were filmed back when this came out.
Yeah.
He appears to have been in basically teen
And maybe that's
dystopian
important
dramas.
for him.
Yep.
As a teenager.
All the divergent stuff.
I think
That's why I don't know him,
younger.
because I've never bothered to watch a film with him in it.
And then I
I've-
also thought of a younger actor, and I recognize his face, and I thought it'd be perfect as a younger version of, or a son to my pick of Scott Eastwood, Nick Robinson. But honestly, I've recognized him before, but I can't remember what movies he's been in. I know that's
Wow.
horrible to say.
This kid looks so young. He's
One of the
be
kids in Jurassic World.
Oh,
But I think he kind of looks sort of similar to the character.
All right, fair enough.
That's my pick.
No, me neither. I'm gonna say, because there are no rules and we're making them up, that I am the winner.
No, you can't do that.
Okay,
You have
Nick.
to pick
That's
one
In
of
that
literally
case,
the only thing you can't do.
in that case, Nick, you have won
Damn it.
by
Yes.
naming someone who is good at acting. Congratulations.
who was your pick? Joe Carey.
Picks him every time.
I plot twist. I
He-
picked the kid from Stranger Things this time.
You
Yes.
did.
I actually
He's-
think he's my favorite of the Stranger Things younger cast, and I actually think he's a pretty good actor in the seasons I've seen him in.
He's great.
Yeah.
I really like him, and not just Stranger Things. I've seen him in he was in Free Guy.
Free Guy's the
Free
other thing
Guy
I've
was
seen him
That's
in. Yeah.
great.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So I think he could pull off kind of a young, he's 31, but he could pull off like, hey, I'm 20, I'm 22 still. Look at his face. He has zero facial hair. It literally can't grow. He doesn't even need to shave it off. So
I
he'll
think
be
that's a good
playing
pick.
22-year-olds until he's like 50.
I think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
And he-
All right.
Almost as good as mine.
Really does have
True.
fabulous hair.
And then so no one picked Kate Connor, but I really do want to do her real quick. I love Westworld, and I thought who would make a great Kate Connor is Evan Rachel
Oh.
Wood.
Agreed.
Yes,
So
agree. You are
Rachel
correct.
Wood.
That is the correct answer.
Yes. And even if I was wrong, no one picked anyone else, so I technically win that round.
I mean, I guess
You just want to tell you won? Tell us.
Nick is the winner because he got 2 out of 3
Oh.
that I chose. So
And,
Good
and
job,
really
Nick.
3 out of 3. He admit I was going to get the first one, but
yeah, that's
Pick me on the
honestly, Nick, your casting was fantastic. I think Tom Hardy's a fantastic actor, and I'd put him in anything. Michael Fassbender, same thing. And honestly, all your cast is I would see them in any movie. They're
Yep, I know. I'm awesome.
All right.
You don't have
So
to actually say it. I know it would pain you to say.
whatever.
Andrew, you got one right. Amy, much disappointed in you.
What?
Shame.
But you like Eastwood.
I do.
I was trying to.
You know what? You had some a little bit out of left field, but still good picks. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Wow. He just gave that to me, guys.
that's my highest compliment I can ever give anyone. So
That was pity.
yeah.
I'll take it.
All right, so let's close up here with would we remake it? Andrea, would you remake Terminator, or would you like to see a remake of Terminator Salvation?
If it's the script that you told us, then yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Nick, go.
Still my answer.
Perfect. Amy, go.
I agree.
It's
Excellent.
unanimous.
Yes,
Write it
because
out
I
loud.
obviously wrote this new version of the
And
movie, so I would
honestly,
pick it.
I wasn't gonna remake this because I thought it was just like the same movie and over over again. But you,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is definitely a twist that I enjoy.
Thank
yeah,
I'll close up the podcast by repeating something Nick said earlier in the podcast, which is every time this film made a decision, it was just slightly the wrong decision. And then so many of those slightly wrong decisions put it into really just not good enough to carry the franchise forward.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, well,
dun,
thank
dun.
you for listening to the original remake podcast.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
If you have
Dun, dun, dun.
questions
no.
about the show or if you have feedback,
Let's see if
Please.
Andrea remembers our email account.
please email us at remake.cast@gmail.com. We'll
That's
be back
correct.
with another episode in 2 weeks. I remembered my lines. Dun-dun-dun.
No, it's dun, dun, dun.
Andrew, you're supposed to say, "I'll be back in 2 weeks." You missed a golden opportunity to end the
I
podcast.
did. Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
so
Failure.